What is good, everyone? It's Zigzag here. Welcome back to another Geoguessr video, and we are just 8 days away from the World Cup. I am leaving on the plane on Monday, so it really is not long till that all happens now. And today we have announced the groups, so I'm going to take you through what I'm thinking, maybe also just some general predictions for the whole World Cup. I think this one's extremely hard to call, other than the fact that, in my opinion, Blinky and Consus are the favourites to win the whole thing. But let's check out what we got going on here. Here are the groups, A, B, C, and D, and basically, as you can see up here, each person in the group plays all the others. So this is quite an interesting way of doing things. I do actually quite like it, I have to say, and I also think that these groups are quite balanced as well. Apparently some other pros kind of gave some insight into the kind of perceived rankings of the players, and I think it's worked out quite nicely. Okay, so let's run through the groups here and have a little look. So Group A is obviously my group. Here I am representing Australia. Very cool indeed. And I got a tough group. I would say that out of all the groups, I'm happy to be away from Blinky, but apart from that, this is about as tough as you could really ask for. It's also easily the most balanced group, in my opinion. I think anyone in this group can make it out quite reasonably. It's not out of the question, in my opinion. So first off, we have Alok. Alok had some really strong performances to make it out of the qualifying stages. Obviously made it out of 2 qualifying stages, which is really impressive. I think Alok is underrated. I would not be surprised to see Alok make it to the top 8, which is the second day. 2 people from each group make it out, by the way. So yeah, I would not be surprised if Alok was one of those people. However, it has to be said, probably not favored to do so. Still, I don't want you guys to sleep on Alok. I think Alok is quite strong. Debre is probably the best player in the group, but at the same time, Debre is unproven because he took a break after the Rainbow tournaments, didn't really play for 4 months. I think in the last month he's hopped in and grinded quite a lot. Apparently he's got school holidays at the moment, so he's just playing a lot. That's what he told me today. Yeah, I think Debre, strongest in the group. That's pretty obvious. Anna is the only person in the group with a really strong moving skill set, so it'd be interesting to see the tactics that all the other players bring to the table there. Again, just to emphasize, definitely someone with a really strong chance to make it out of the groups. Sheena is definitely the player in the group who's most unproven. Somewhat of a surprise invite, but I was definitely happy to see them invited. We're just gonna have to see. I've heard he's really good at Brazil, Russia, big countries and stuff like that, but an overall lack of experience, because I think he's only been playing for a year or so, could mean that he's considered the weakest in the group. I'm not really sure. It's gonna be really interesting to see how he plays, and that element of unprovenness is really kind of exciting. And then Topotic, I think, is the #1 sleeper pick to win the World Cup, in my opinion. Obviously, you guys would know that he's the creator of Rural World, so that map-making experience is something that both Debre and Topotic are bringing to the table. It's going to be really interesting to see if they're able to get any crazy guesses from very niche coverage. I think that's really quite likely. Now moving on to the other groups quickly, I think Group B is quite interesting because there are 2 real front-runners here. Namely, Consus, I think, is one of the favorites to win the World Cup. He's probably the best no-moving player in the whole thing. In the absence of Boki, Steek, Kurt, bad at Geoguessr, you have to say that Consus is one of the all-time best no-moving players and probably the best one represented in the World Cup. And it is very interesting to see how he's going to go. I would not be at all surprised if Consus comes out at the top of this group in flying colors. Now, then we have Gelotris, Macam, Kodiak, and Quark Sauce, all definitely going to be vying for that second spot, in my opinion. That's really the way I see things in this group. Tribota being probably the main favorite to take that second spot, but also Tribota hasn't, he's over the course of like the Rainbow tournaments and everything, didn't play that many. So I'd say in the community, he's also somewhat unknown, but definitely, I think on paper, the second strongest in the group here. So it's going to be interesting to see if any of these guys can come up the rear, pull some really nice guesses as well. It speaks to the balance of the groups, in my opinion, because I've heard people say in Group C that this is the group of death, whereas in my opinion it's probably the most forgiving group. I think so. I don't know, but Jupa is the big favorite here. RC probably coming up in second place, in my opinion, as a prediction. But Wolf Trekker, Mate Potato, Chicago Geographer, and Anana, all definitely in with a shout. I have to say that Anana is probably one of the surprise picks for this World Cup, likewise with Quark Sauce, so I'd be interested to see how those 2 go. Definitely both very strong players, but also in their own right helped out by the fact that they are from countries with not a whole lot of other Geoguessr players, I guess. Okay, and then Group D, everyone's talking about Blinky. I think Blinky is, of course, the favorite to win the World Cup. I actually don't know, like, with this format, if you could put Consus like quite close to Blinky in ranking right now, but Blinky's been really grinding on the no moving games. I know he's getting super strong as he needs to be because the Jules format is so quick. Fungus is also a really strong moving player. In fact, this group is the moving group. Apart from Harmless, I think everyone is actually quite a strong moving player here, which is a big contrast to my group, where, as I said, Anna is probably the only one who's a really strong moving player. And unfortunate to have Jake Lyons and Blinky in the same group, because I feel like they both have very similar skill sets, but of course, Jake Lyons, you know, it's hard to compete with Blinky, so, you know, hopefully he can sneak into that second spot. But yeah, Harmless, very, very strong. Definitely the second player here who I would pick to go through, but these three as well. I mean, Lenley, my teammate, my good friend, I hope he does really well. But yeah, it's really, I think actually, if I could have picked any group not to be in, it's this one, because I think Harmless is just plays like me, but better, and then Blinky is just the favorite to win the whole World Cup. So all in all, I think I'm happy with my group here. I think the groups are very well balanced. I'm happy with how they did things, and yeah, should be a really interesting World Cup. I am super duper excited. Guys, you gotta like stay tuned for this. This is gonna be an insane little moment for Geoguessr. I can't wait to meet all these people in real life. I have mad respect for all of them, and yeah guys, that's it for the video. I'll have another video coming out tonight, I believe, but if not, stay tuned for more videos very soon. Give the video a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in a video very soon. Goodbye guys, World Cup soon, World Cup soon.